Fake HOA cops held my daughter underwater while shouting about community safety. Seconds earlier it was just a backyard pool party. Now it was a crime scene. I dove in screaming, my husband lay bleeding, and the fake cops tried to run. But what happened next shocked the entire country. Before we start the story, please comment down from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's start from the beginning. Saturday afternoon in our suburban American backyard, basking under a golden sun. Lawn chairs, watermelon slices, a sizzling grill. Kids running around barefoot, shrieking with joy. One of them is my 10-year-old daughter Lily Caldwell, freckled face, oversized goggles, a pink floaty hugging her arms. She's not a strong swimmer, but she loves the pool. My husband Travis, a former mechanic turned stay-at-home dad, watches lovingly from a distance, flipping burgers. I snap photos from the patio, humming to a tune only I hear. My name is Marlene Caldwell, and before I became a full-time mom, I was something else entirely. Something these men would soon wish they'd known about. Suddenly, a black SUV with tinted windows screeches to a halt outside our gate. Two men step out, black polos, tactical vests labeled HOA. No names. No IDs. "You can't have that pool open without regulation signage," barks one. He's tall, ex-military posture, short buzz cut, eyes like cold steel. The other is bulkier with a crooked nose, chewing gum like he's bored to be alive. Travis walks over, towel slung over one shoulder. "Excuse me, who the hell are you?" "We're with the Homeowners Association Compliance Task Force," says Buzzcut. He flashes a fake badge too fast to read. "And your pool violates HOA Article 9, subsection 12. Hazard to community safety." Travis chuckles dryly. "Our HOA has no such rule. Who authorized you?" "Step aside, sir. We'll have to shut this down." I step up now, arms crossed. "We have all our documents. We know every rule in that handbook." "Ma'am, stand back. You're interfering." The bulkier man starts uncoiling yellow tape from his vest. "Sir, please," shouts Travis. "My kid's in the pool." "Exactly why this needs to be handled," roars Buzzcut, storming past him. And then, without warning, he plunges his arm into the pool and grabs Lily by the back of the neck. "What are you doing?" I scream. The floaty slips. Water sloshes. Lily's head is shoved under. Buzzcut growls. She's resisting. Travis launches forward, grabbing Buzzcut by the vest, but Bulk is already on him, slamming him to the concrete. "Stop. She's just a kid," cries a neighbor over the fence, filming the scene. 30 seconds. That's how long Lily's under. It feels like forever. When Buzzcut lets go, my daughter is motionless. I jump in, fully clothed, screaming, begging. CPR. Travis crawls over, dazed, blood on his temple. We try everything. Then a cough. A sputter. Lily gasps, throws up pool water, then bursts into sobs. Sirens in the distance. The HOA men try to flee, but the neighbors block the gate. Someone grabs Buzzcut by the wrist. "You're not going anywhere," growls the man who mows lawns on our block. The cops arrive to the sound of cell phone chimes, every neighbor showing them videos. Travis, still shaking, shouts, "They almost killed my girl." The HOA men are cuffed on the spot. Not officers. No authority. No paperwork. Just two violent con artists playing dress-up in suburbia. But Lily is alive. For now. At the hospital that night, a doctor tells me if she'd been under 10 more seconds. He doesn't let me finish. I go home and start building a case. 3 days after the drowning attempt, the Caldwell home has become a fortress. Not in bricks or fences, but in silence, tension, and unspoken rage. I haven't slept. I haven't cried. I've been at the kitchen table for 72 hours with my laptop open, a dozen HOA handbooks spread across the surface. Highlighters bleeding through paper. Court case PDF stacked high. My fingers twitching with caffeine and fury. Lily sleeps upstairs, afraid of water now. Afraid of strangers. Travis walks like a man who failed his family because, in his mind, he did. And me? I am metamorphosing. You see, 10 years ago, before I became a full-time mom, I was a civil litigation attorney. A good one. A terrifying one. I quit after a tough pregnancy, but everything I buried for the sake of peace is clawing its way back now. I'm not trying to be composed anymore. I'm not interested in forgiveness. I'm interested in war. Because this isn't just about a pool. This is about two men pretending to have power, attacking my child, and nearly ending her life in broad daylight while neighbors watched in horror. And if the state DA thinks I'm going to wait politely for due process, he doesn't know Marlene Caldwell. On day 4, I walk into the county courthouse in a blazer that smells like chlorine. I don't make an appointment. I don't wait in line. I march straight into the office of ADA Rick Tolbert, a man whose tie is too wide and whose coffee is always just cooling. You're going to upgrade those charges, I say. He blinks. Excuse me? Attempted manslaughter. Endangering a minor. Assault with intent to cause bodily harm. Impersonating a peace officer. At minimum. Mrs. Caldwell, I understand your... No, you don't. My daughter nearly died. We have 11 videos, 7 witnesses, a medical report. I will file civil suits against the HOA board, the city, the badge manufacturer, and your office for dereliction of duty if you don't act. Tolbert exhales sharply. These men, we're still verifying who they are. One has military records. Dishonorable discharge. The other was a private contractor, which means he knows how to drown someone fast and quiet. You're proving my point. Tolbert leans back. We're preparing charges. Just let the process. I slam a folder on his desk. You have until Friday. After that, I go public. And I do. By Thursday night, I've booked on 3 podcasts, 1 radio show, and a Zoom interview with the mid-tier local news channel. I don't hold back. I show photos, play audio from the scene, show the bruises on Lily's neck, and the transcript of the ER doctor's warning. My voice never cracks. They drowned my daughter, I say, eyes locked on the camera, then called it compliance. The story spreads. The words fake HOA cops start trending. On Friday, the county upgrades the charges to attempted murder. The men are denied bail. That night, Travis brings me tea. I don't know how you do it, he says quietly. I look up at him. My face is raw, hollowed, but blazing. I was nice for 10 years, Travis. I smiled at neighbors and waved at board meetings. I didn't raise my voice. But I always knew this world doesn't reward nice. It respects teeth. Then I look down at my laptop and add 3 more names to my lawsuit because the HOA board approved those uniforms. And I'm only just getting started. It begins with a knock on a door. Not at the Caldwell home, but 2 blocks away at the freshly painted house of HOA board president Clinton Harrow, a retired dentist with a creepy smile and a brand new Tesla. It's 6:43 a.m. and he's mid-sip on his Nespresso when the knock turns to a bang. Police. Warrant. Federal involvement. The footage leaks within hours. Clinton in his robe, yelling about misunderstandings as agents carry out boxes marked with evidence tags. And just like that, the neighborhood illusion shatters. The HOA board wasn't just turning a blind eye. They were funding the imposters. I knew it. I just hadn't expected proof to come so fast. See, one of the officers who assaulted Lily, buzzcut, cracked under pressure during interrogation. Ex-Army. PTSD. Kicked out of security contracting after an incident in Fallujah. Found work through a shadowy gig program set up by the HOA president, paying under the table for enforcement services, meant to keep the neighborhood clean. That meant intimidation. Threats. Sometimes force. The HOA called them compliance specialists. The real term is vigilantes. Clinton Harrow gave them badges. He gave them targets. He gave them Lily. The court orders begin flying. By midweek, 3 other families come forward. One woman says she was threatened at night for letting her disabled father live with her. Another says her daughter's basketball hoop was ripped out of the ground while HOA officers screamed at her. But no one thought to question their authority. Not until Lily nearly died. I stand on the courthouse steps with a microphone and a folder of affidavits. They are not a rogue unit, I say. They are the system you created. And the dam breaks. Local media becomes national. Fox covers it first. Fake HOA cops nearly kill child, tie to HOA president confirmed. Then CNN. Then daytime television. The Caldwells are suddenly that family. Interviewed. Analyzed. Dissected. Lily, still traumatized, sits quietly beside me, clinging to a stuffed dolphin. When a host asks if she remembers what the man said underwater, Lily nods. He said, "Stop squirming, little punk." My hand tightens over her back. Back home, the neighbors bring casseroles. Too many to eat. They apologize, say they're sorry that they didn't stop it sooner. One neighbor, Steve McDougal, Vietnam vet, builds a custom "No Fake Cops" sign and bolts it to the community bulletin board. Another forms a watch group. One woman starts a petition to dissolve the HOA entirely. It gains over 10,000 signatures in 3 days. But the most unexpected moment happens on a Tuesday morning when Travis walks Lily to the mailbox. A long silence passes before Lily looks up and whispers, "Daddy, am I still brave?" Travis kneels, puts both hands on his daughter's shoulders. "You were braver than I was, honey." And he means it. because Travis spent days blaming himself. But now, as he watches his wife reshape laws, his daughter find courage, and a once complacent community rise up in solidarity, he finally realizes they're not victims anymore. They're leading something bigger. Something real. A neighbor across the street shouts, "We saw you on the news, sweetie." Lily waves, smiles, and for the first time since that horrible day she laughs. Just a little. Inside the house I get an email. Class action approval. We have the green light to go after everyone, from Clinton Harrow down to the printing company that made the fake IDs. And me? I've just printed the first 86 subpoenas. It's been 4 weeks since the attack. In the American legal system that's a blink. But in the Caldwell household it's a lifetime. We don't measure time in days anymore. We measure it in hearings, depositions, and courtroom gasps. Travis, once a quiet man who fixed carburetors and kept his head down, now testifies with a quiet fury that makes grown men avert their gaze. Lily, under the care of a trauma counselor, draws pictures again, though now the pools are always empty, and the sun is always far away. And me? I have become a name whispered in legal circles. Not for my courtroom decorum. Not for my credentials. But because I am unrelenting. I don't just want justice. I want accountability burned into every board meeting from Virginia to California. I want HOA presidents across America to sleep badly. I want the mold to fear the light. And that light hits full force on courtroom day 17. The county courthouse is packed. Local news lines the back wall. A few YouTubers stream quietly from benches, whispering into phones. Judge Sheila Rohr, a no-nonsense African-American woman in her 60s with the kind of glare that could unmake a liar, presides over the case. On the stand is Clinton Harrow. He's thinner now. Less smug. The tailored suit doesn't sit right on his bones. When he speaks, it's with the warbled restraint of a man coached within an inch of perjury. I never intended for harm to come to anyone, he says, blinking too often. I don't object. I don't need to. I let the silence linger like fog. Then I approach the stand slowly, heels echoing across tile. Mr. Harrow, I say, opening a binder, is this your signature on the document titled Supplemental HOA Enforcement Protocol, dated March 12th? He nods. And in this section, I point, you authorized payment to independent contractors for on-site intervention. Is that correct? Yes, but did you vet them? Did you run background checks? Confirm certifications? Verify legal authority? Anything resembling due diligence? No. And were you aware that one of these men had previously been investigated for excessive force while working overseas as a contractor in Iraq? Clinton's lawyer objects. Judge Rohr overrules. Answer the question, the judge orders. Clinton stammers. I had heard something, but it wasn't confirmed. I shut the binder with a clap that makes Clinton flinch. Let the record show that HOA President Clinton Harrow knowingly employed unlicensed, unregulated individuals to enforce pseudo-legal measures against residents, including but not limited to attempted child abduction, physical assault, and impersonation of law enforcement personnel. I turn to the jury, eyes fierce, voice rising just enough. And let us not forget my daughter. A 10-year-old girl nearly drowned at the hands of a man this board hired. No badge. No authority. No remorse. There's a murmur from the gallery. Outside, a crowd has gathered. Signs are held up. No more fake cops. Lily Law. Lily deserves justice. When court adjourns that day, I step out to applause. Not just from neighbors. From strangers. From parents holding their own kids. From veterans who recognize the abuse of power. From elderly homeowners tired of threats about lawn height and mailbox colors. By the end of the week, more than 120 HOAs across the country suspend enforcement activities pending internal audits. The story has legs. Cable networks book panels. Podcasts dedicate entire arcs. One documentary team sets up outside the courthouse. And then the verdict. Clinton Harrow is found guilty on 4 counts. Conspiracy to commit assault, reckless endangerment of a child, aiding and abetting the impersonation of law enforcement, and negligent supervision of hired personnel. Buzzcut and Bulk, real names classified in court filings, are sentenced to 27 years without the possibility of parole. The judge calls their actions a grotesque violation of public trust and human decency. And when the sentence is read, I don't cry. I don't blink. I simply turn to Travis and Lily in the front row and nod. Because this isn't just revenge. It's precedent. And Lily Caldwell's name is now etched in the legal textbooks of 3 states as the child whose survival triggered the Reformation of Community Authority Act, passed unanimously by the state Senate within 30 days of the trial. HOAs are now barred from enforcing compliance through private security in multiple jurisdictions. The fake power is dead. And in its place, a warning: don't ever touch someone's child. 6 months later, the pool behind the Caldwell home remains closed. The floaties are still stored in the garage. The water's been drained. The fence is padlocked. Not from fear but from respect. A quiet memorial rests on the edge of the concrete. A stone bench carved with Lily's own words from therapy: brave is when you're scared but do it anyway. Below it, a plaque: in honor of those who fight fake power with real courage. The house is quiet today, but it's not broken. Not like it was. Travis has gone back to working with his hands, though now it's building wheelchair ramps for veterans. He doesn't speak of that day often, but when he does, he always ends with one line: my wife saved our daughter and she didn't need a weapon to do it. Lily is 11 now. She still sleeps with the stuffed dolphin. She still startles when tires screech. But she also gave a speech at her elementary school civics assembly, standing in front of 300 kids, telling them what a civil subpoena is. The teachers cried. The principal asked for a copy. But it's me who carries the legacy. Not just as Lily's mother. Not just as the woman who took down an HOA-funded paramilitary scam with a binder and a voice that didn't crack. But as Marlene Caldwell, founder of the Real Compliance Initiative, a nonprofit that now investigates and legally challenges illegitimate HOA enforcement actions nationwide. The nonprofit started with one case. It's now handling 27. I work 12-hour days again, but for something that burns cleaner than ambition. Purpose. I give keynotes. Advise legislation. One of my articles, The Quiet Empire: How HOA Power Became the Last Unchecked Force in Suburbia, went viral and was cited in a U.S. Senate subcommittee hearing. People now knock on my door not with complaints but with thanks. One Sunday morning, a woman named Gloria, 76, cane, white curls, appears at our front porch. She holds a paper file in a trembling hand. They've been fining me for having a bird bath, she whispers. They say it's unauthorized. I'm scared, but I don't know what to do. I smile, gesture her inside. You just made the right first move, Gloria. Let's go get them. In a nearby federal facility, the two men who assaulted Lily spend 23 hours a day in separate cells. Buzzcut tried to request a transfer but was denied. He's listed in the system now under special threat classification, child endangerment, which means even in prison, there's no respect left for him. As for Clinton Harrow, he's bankrupt. Lost his house. Faces a mountain of civil lawsuits. His mugshot became a meme. His name is now a punchline on late-night TV. In a deposition, he wept and asked if Lily would ever forgive him. We didn't answer. Forgiveness isn't owed. But justice? Justice was delivered in full. On the 1-year anniversary of the attack, we host a neighborhood barbecue. Not out of celebration but reclamation. Kids laugh. Flags wave. Burgers sizzle. And Lily, now taller, stronger, more sure of her voice, walks out with a small poster board. On it, "This is our street. Not theirs." Applause erupts. Someone films it. That video goes viral too. Not for the rage. Not for the shock. But for what fake HOA cops never saw coming. A girl who lived. A mother who wouldn't yield. And a community that finally remembered its spine. The title of that clip: Fake HOA Cops Tried to Drown My Daughter, Now They're Rotting in Prison Like Rats. But it's the comment beneath that says it best. I watched this 5 times. Not because it's dramatic but because I needed to believe people still fight back. Thank you for proving it. The courtroom was supposed to be empty that day. The criminal case was over. The prison sentences were handed down. The nation had moved on. But I hadn't. Not completely. Not until every brick of the rot was exposed, especially the ones that were never meant to be seen by the public. Because while the world was watching the fake cops and the corrupt president burn, no one was looking at the real money. Until now. It started with a bank statement. Travis, reorganizing the garage, found a misdelivered letter shoved behind a paint can. It was addressed to the HOA's treasurer, Ruth Ann Pierce, a 68-year-old retiree known for her lemon bars and love of pearl cardigans. The envelope looked innocent until I opened it and saw an outgoing wire transfer from HOA funds. Not to maintenance. Not to landscaping. But to an LLC in Delaware with no employees, no services, and no website. I knew that name. Civic Resource Solutions. It had appeared in 4 contracts tied to enforcement guidance and risk mitigation strategy. It was the shell company. The money trail led back to Ruth Ann. But not just her. It led to a network. 10 other HOA boards across the state. A coordinated scheme. They hired compliance officers, paid them through civic resource, kept them off payroll, off tax records, off the grid. The model: scare residents into compliance. Use fear. Use force. Collect fines. Profit. And if anyone questioned it, call it community regulation. And the deeper I dug, the worse it got. A private Discord server. Encrypted emails. Even a recruitment manual titled, Enforcing the Standard, Tools for the New HOA Enforcer. Page 1. No one questions a man with a badge and confidence. We're both. So now, on a rainy Thursday afternoon, I find myself in federal district court. This time as lead counsel in a RICO lawsuit, typically reserved for organized crime. Because that's what this was. Organized criminal impersonation. Fraud. Abuse. Racketeering. Conspiracy. And Ruth Ann? She's in the defendant's chair, clutching her pearls, mouth tight as a drum. When her lawyer insists she's just a harmless retiree doing clerical work, I respond by rolling in a projector cart. Click. Photo of Ruth Ann at a wine mixer. Buzzcut stands behind her, arms folded. Click. Copy of her email. We should consider the escalation team for the Caldwell family. The husband's a soft touch. Click. Final frame, Lily's bruised neck. The report. Date stamped. The courtroom falls still. Then Judge Miriam Keene, federal level, leans forward and delivers a line that becomes immortalized in online discourse. When you empower violence with bureaucracy and call it community management, don't be surprised when the community fights back. It takes weeks, but the verdict is brutal. Ruth and Pierce, guilty on 6 counts. Sentenced to 12 years. Civil penalties exceed $9 million. The civic resource shell is dismantled. The RICO ruling historic. It becomes case law cited nationwide. HOAs across America rewrite their charters. Some dissolve entirely. And in D.C., a senator references the Caldwell precedent in a debate over suburban oversight. That night, back in our living room, I receive a letter. Handwritten. It's from the mother of one of the fake officers who now sits in prison. You may hate him. I understand. But I wanted you to know, after sentencing, he said one thing through the glass. He said, I never expected the mother to fight harder than the law. I fold the letter slowly, then toss it into the fireplace. Because I am the law now. And I always fight harder.